Good morning, folks. Back at the Rebuild Ranch. Today's project, Honda CX500 front fork seals. This one, been sitting in the barn for a while. Decided better make a change for the spring. This whole bike is a project. It's going to all come apart, and of course, we'll turn it into a cafe racer or something cool like that. But right now, you just need to get it running for a little bit of fun around the ranch. So there you can see quite a mess. So we're going to pull this fork off, actually both of them, change the seals, and we'll let you see how that goes. Hang around. Today's plan, we're going to pull off the magnificent turn signals we have on this bike. As you can imagine, they're 1981, and they look like 1981. Anyway, we're going to take off the turn signals, change the front fork seals, and just generally fix up the front end a little bit. So let's get on it. I'll just let this run and you can watch me pull it all apart, and then we'll show you the basic way of just changing the seals on a fork on a 1981 CX500. Pretty simple. Stick around. So this I learned from, of course, YouTube, the community. That's where we get all this stuff. The top cap in the strut, if it's held here, it's pinched here. The best way to do it is loosen this cap first, because once you get it out, it's extremely difficult to hold the strut and remove the cap. So we're going to break this cap loose, break the other one loose, then we'll undo the pinch bolts and take the fork out, and then we'll get into more of a disassembly and how we're to repair it. There we go. As you can see, It's been leaking pretty bad. Sat here over the winter, didn't move, and then really started to leak. So we'll clean that all up, pull it apart, replace the seals, and I'm actually going to paint this black as a beginnings to the rest of my restoration project here. But for now, we're just going to clean it up, get it working so we can ride the bike, and we'll put together a whole nother group of shows on the rebuild. Okay, so now we'll disassemble the fork. This is the left fork that was leaking the worst. We'll take it apart first, and then we'll we'll do the right one as well, but we're going to clean it up a little bit, disassemble the fork, and change the seals. And then we're going to clean up the aluminum, give it a bit of a Scotch-Brite clean up, and shoot it with some black paint. That's the desired finish I want on this set of forks. And now that I've got them off, I might as well paint them now before I get into the whole rest of the project, which is, you know, big project, take the whole bike apart and do a whole bunch of rebuilds. As you probably saw on the disassembly there, the old headlight pot and all the old chrome and stuff is all pitted and looking bad, and I've got all new stuff for that. I may put some of it on at this time, but we'll wait and see. Basically just want to get it running for the summer here and ride around a little bit, and then we'll get on with doing a total rebuild probably in the fall, and I'll make a whole series on that. Now in the end of here, you can see that there's a screw, and that set screw locks in the whole spring and everything that's inside the tube. So we'll break that loose, and then we can take the top off, drain the fluid out, and pull it apart. I'll show you how I get this section apart in a little bit. So I went up to the house to get my metric Allen keys to pull the plug out of the bottom of the fork, and dug through my stock of parts that I got for this bike probably, well, a good year ago now. And there's my seals that I got for the fork. So that's our seal package, which is great. But then I also found I had my new brackets for the headlight. Much nicer brackets than the old rusty chrome ones that are on there. And some shims that go with those brackets to make them fit properly. Turn signals. We can get rid of those ginormous turn signals we have. LED turn signals. So I'll probably put those on as well while I've got it torn apart there. And then of course the associated for the LED for the LED signals, you need a new relay for them so they'll flash properly. So there's the new relay for the signals. And I got some new intake tubes and seals as well. I was really just looking for these seals and these rubbers, but it all comes as a piece. It's all molded on here. So I've got those to put on. Probably won't put them on right now, but I have those. That'll be another video. And then as well, the new LED headlight. Much nicer than the old light pot that's all, you know, rusty chrome. So we'll put this one on probably as well. We've got it apart, got the brackets and the light and everything. So be interesting. We'll get it all put together and see what we get when we're finished. Get an old bucket to catch the fluid from any fluid that might come out from the fork, if there's anything left in it. Just slowly move it up and down and kind of pump the fluid out of it. Pretty black, ugly stuff. I don't know what they put in it for fluid last time somebody did this, but not very pretty. Now, this is spring loaded. I guess you can't see it from up down there. You have to be careful when you take the top cap off. It's under spring tension. Hang on. There we go. There, so this cap, when you unscrew it, it's under the spring that's in here will want to pop this cap out the top. So you have to be careful when you do this and control it, hang on to it, so that when it pops loose, it doesn't fly and hit you in the face or something. Just get a little better angle on that. There we go. So there's the cap with its O-ring around the top. And then one short spring on the top. The longer spring, we'll just put it in the bucket. Oh, and a washer there as well that sits on top of that spring to separate the two springs. This washer sits between the two springs, the short spring at the top and the longer spring. See if there's any fluid left in here. Dump it into our bucket. I can hear the lower part. I want to show it to you, so I'll put this up here. There we go. The plunger that sits at the bottom of the shock. right there is where the Allen key bolt threads into the bottom to hold that into the bottom of the fork. We'll take a little screwdriver and pop the dust seal out. Don't have to worry about it. It's not, one, it's junk anyway, but two, it's you can just pop it out with the screwdriver and not worry about damaging anything. It's an old one. We'll make sure that the new one is similar enough. Now, inside of the top of the fork is a small clip that holds the seal in. Get all the gunk out of here so you can maybe see that. Anyways, right in here, you can see it right there, there's a clip. We pull that clip out, and that'll allow us to pull this tube out and then put the new seal in here and then push the new tube back in with the seal attached. Okay, so I had to go get the snap ring pliers, get the right tool for the job. Those will pull our little clip out for us right here. If we can there we go. And there's our clip that keeps it together. Put that in our parts tray. Thing keeps dripping a little bit of fluid around. Now, the way to get this seal out, on the bottom of the fork tube, there's a flange, and if you just bump this out, it will pop out there's the washer, and then it'll bump out the seal. There we go. So there's the seal right there. No, how about if I turn the lights on? Hang on. That's a little better, isn't it? So there is the seal. The bush. Another bushing here. This one, it's split, and you can slide this off. Slide this bushing off. But we can leave that on. We'll just take our seal off the top, and then we'll be very careful putting it back on so not to ruin the seal. But that's all there is to getting the fork apart. Pretty simple. We'll clean it all out, get it all cleaned up. We'll paint this portion, give that the paint job we want. I'll do the other one as well. They're both the same. And then we'll put it all back together, show you what it looks like.